Let me know where you are. Danielle's only heard of them through me. Fantastic. Well, stay with it because it is totally life-changing. It really is. So if you're just coming in, please say hello in the chat. Let me know where in the world you are and what you're up to today. Hello, Marije. Lovely to see you. Oh, bless you. Well, just like nothing to do except listen. So I'm really sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better soon. So I came across the three principles just, 3.5 years ago now, quite bizarrely to say. That's gone really fast as well, Monica, the last 3.5 years, and it's changed my relationship with life, really. Life out there is still doing its nonsense as it does, but I don't have anywhere near the same experience of it as I had before. It used to seem really hard, but it doesn't at all now. I'm less bothered by things. I'm calm all the time. Other people aren't quite so annoying, it turns out. Turns out that was me creating that. And I'm a lot kinder to myself and everybody else, I think, is probably a good way to put it. So the three principles are thought, consciousness and mind. Mind is a funny word because we all start thinking about this space, don't we, when we say mind, but really it's universal mind. Universal intelligence is another way to put it. If you haven't already heard it, there is a track on my profile, which do go and follow if you've not done that already. There is a track on there that's called What Are the Three Principles and Why Do They Bring More Ease to Life? That's a really useful track to listen to because it helps to push all of my content into a bit more context. I wish you could pin, like you can on some social media, you can pin a track to the top. I feel like I'd like to pin that one to the top of my profile. Maybe I'll put it on my link in my bio and say listen to this one first. There's also a video on the link in my bio which is worth watching as well to give you some context. Briefly, the context was, Monica can relate to my story. I was a head teacher, Monica, of a primary school. So similar to a principal, same kind of concept. I ran a school of about 500 children by the end, my second headship, and I burnt out in 2015. So I've been the other end of the spectrum from calm, and now my relationship is so different. So I would say, Monica, that my job was busy. There was a lot to do and a lot to think about, but my personal life and the way I tried to control that was much busier and really burnout was a result of me trying to control everybody and everything. And it turns out you can't actually do that. And then I moved on to trying to control myself, my thoughts, my feelings, behaviour. That was my next little step. So I burnt out in 2015. I retrained as a hypnotherapist, not a hypnotherapist anymore. Don't do that. If you want to hear that story, that's a longer story. And reach out, connect with me and I'll tell you that story. Ricky's here. I was chatting to Ricky earlier today on Zoom. How cool that he's here. I stopped being a hypnotherapist and I retrained into this understanding called the three principles, which has been phenomenally life-changing for me. So if you are new here and you don't already do so, please hop over and follow me on my profile. You can click on the link in the bio there and find out a little bit more about me and how to connect with me outside of here, which of course there's a huge invitation to do so. But as well as that, I have got absolutely truckloads of content on here. I actually looked earlier because I was trying to find a particular track to send to somebody, and I think I've got 190 something free tracks on here, which is pretty bonkers really when I think about it. And then I've got 2 courses. So one of the courses is called Calm, Balance and Clarity with Ease, and the other one is called Revealing Your Full Potential with the 3 Ps. I also have a few premium tracks as well as that. So the best way to find out about what I've got on here is to go over and have a nosy around and, just look at some of the tracks. And if the title appeals, have a listen. They're all pointing in the same direction because that is the nature of the 3 principles. we're pointing here towards connecting to your innate well-being, your universal intelligence, the fact that you are the oneness, the real spiritual side. Oh, thank you so much, Danielle. The real spiritual side of life, but also with an understanding that it's our psychology where we spend most of our life, and that in understanding the psychology and the role it plays in creating our experience, we can actually have a better experience of life. We just have to understand the part our psychology is playing. And when we start to understand the part our psychology is playing, what actually happens is that the psychology ceases to be quite so important. So a lot of you, I'm sure, if I'm in the right place, will have tried a lot of things to feel better. And really, most of those things focus on changing your thoughts, changing your feelings, or changing your behaviour. So let me know in the comments some of the things that you've tried to make yourself feel better, or to do better in the world, or to have better thoughts. So things like NLP, CBT, counselling, hypnotherapy, and what else? All the tapping and the tools and techniques and those kind of things. Meditation, perhaps. We've all tried. I think if we're in this room, we've tried a few things. So let me know in the comments what you've tried. I tried a lot of things. An awful lot of gratitude journals as well, affirmations, all those kind of things. So the difference really with this conversation with the 3 principles is that we are subtracting, not adding anything. If you're a busy person, anybody here a busy person? I bet you still are, Monica, even though you've retired, haven't you? Yep, therapy, affirmations, definitely. So if you're a busy person, you don't need anything else to do. Hands up, anybody in the room who doesn't want anything else to do but would like to just feel better. That's it. That's what we're going to give you here. What I'm going to give you here, and what the 3 principles can give you, is a falling away of all the stuff without needing to do anything else. I listen to a podcast or two every day. I attend the occasional course now, but of course I speak about this all day every day, so that's helpful. Counselling, acupuncture, body control, body freedom, acupuncture, yeah, me too, acupuncture, counselling, definitely, tapping, all sorts of like 1 day or half day ritually type things, events, yoga. I mean, I still do yoga now, do it because I love it, and I like the feet. I just like the strength in my body and that kind of thing. Oh, journaling, yeah, gratitude journals. I mostly did, Monica, that too. But we're all too busy for this, aren't we? Now, it might be better if we weren't so busy. And then does anybody else like have the guilt thing as well, where you think you're supposed to be doing XYZ tool or technique and you're not, and so you feel kind of bad because you don't feel so good and you're not doing the tool and technique, and somebody's told you that's the thing that will make you feel better and you're not doing it, so you feel dreadful. There's a lot of guilt around it, I think, isn't there? I've just been writing a document, a media bio questionnaire, where I've been writing about all the different things I've tried and all the different rabbit holes I went down, and it's been really interesting to look at it all, really. Yep, meditation retreats. Now, you see, I love meditation. I think it's really nice. I really like it, and I think it is nice to sit quietly and either be guided or just have some time to be still. I think sometimes it can just help us to see who we really are. I'm not anti anything, by the way. The difference, I would say, if I go and do something now, first of all, I do it mostly because I'm interested and curious and think it might be fun, might meet some nice people on a similar journey, that kind of thing. But I know that I'm fundamentally okay. And this is where we're pointing here, that who you really are, your well-being, everything you need is already in here. Now, if you're looking at a tool or a technique or a strategy or something to help you to connect to that more deeply, to just reveal it a little bit more, be with it a little bit more, feel what it's like so that you know it's there for you, then that's wonderful. If you're in this trap of I must do this or I will not be okay, that's a trap. That's addiction, really. It's addiction. And that's where I lived from for a very long time. If I don't do my gratitude journal, my affirmation, my meditation, then I will not be okay. I've got to keep doing these things. And that was the bit that started after I started my business was about 3.5 years, but it was going on way before that, to be honest. Yeah, I like that, Marita. I love that. I would go to a meditation retreat now. Just for the pure joy of it, really. Just to enjoy it. Just to learn something about myself, maybe. Excuse me. That's a huge yawn, wasn't it? I've been awake since. My fiance's doing a lot of early starts at the moment, and he had to leave and go to Wolverhampton at stupid o'clock this morning, so he was up very early. So once I woke up and I knew he was getting up in half an hour, I just thought, well, bubbles to this, I'm going to get up. So I got up and did my yoga, and I was at my computer for about 5:30. Anyway, I've got a lot done, and I'm going to stop early, so that's all fine. It's all about integration, life and work, rather than having a fixed schedule. I don't do a fixed schedule, really. I like to work when I like to work and not when I don't. And have a nap sometimes in the afternoon, which quite honestly right now, probably quite like one of those. I like that, Danielle. Yeah, go with the flow. I've really I say work-life balance a lot because people understand what you're talking about. Really, I like integration. Otherwise, it feels like here's work and here's life, and let's bash them against each other and see if we come out alive on the other side. I don't think that's such a good idea, really. But integration's nicer. I feel like my life and my work are like this. They kind of mould together really nicely. So that's a little bit about 3 principles, a little bit about me. Been an Insight Timer teacher for a little while now. Been really intensely doing it for the last couple of months. Really enjoying it. How it works with me is that each month we have a theme. So we're getting near the end of June now. It is actually July next Saturday. So next week will be the last week. I haven't scheduled the lives for next week, but there's usually 3 to 5 lives a week. Just depends on the rest of my schedule. And bearing in mind I've got another course to create, I might be not doing as many lives next week. So generally we have a theme each month. This month the theme has been revealing your potential with the 3 principles, and that's why the course is called Revealing Your Full Potential with the 3 principles. The best thing to do is to follow me, and then you'll get to know everything that I'm going to do, what lives are coming up, and I do try to pitch in at different times. This Friday lunchtime one is getting quite popular now, so I probably will try and do a Friday lunchtime going forward, although it's usually a bit earlier. And my aim really is to have the 3 principles be much more broadly known about than it is now. I'm really this is why I'm doing the PR stuff, why I'm on here regularly, is that I see here are a group of very awakened already people, very open, very curious people. That's what I love about being on here, and I want you to know about the 3 principles, because I think it could be the icing on the cake, really, in terms of your journey. Your spiritual journey or your development journey, your self-development journey. So if you find this at all helpful and you do have a little bit of, I know I said a little bit of spare change, throw it at me. And you are able to make a donation, then of course I'm really grateful, and it really helps Insight Timer as well. To keep this platform so wonderful and so supportive to people. So donations are always welcome. They do support me to get this 3 principles message out. At the moment I'm trying to get Insight Timer to include 3 principles as a teaching modality. I might give them a nudge on that, because I did send them a while ago a little message about it, so fingers crossed. So hello Ripon, lovely to see you. Please let me know if you've just come in recently, where you are in the world, how you're doing, whether you've been here before, whether you're new, whether you've heard of the 3 principles or not. Just bung some things in the comments. Let me know that you are there. And then while you're doing that, we will crack on with the subject of the day in terms of revealing our true potential, which is our theme for this month. So we're going to look at navigating change with ease today. The 3 principles way. Oh, hello, Erin. How lovely. Oh, I'm so excited that you're finding it interesting. And Ripon, I'm glad you're excited too. Hi, Mayan. Lovely to see you. Don't worry if you've missed a little bit at the beginning, because I do extract these. Sounds painful, doesn't it? Sounds painful for the recording. I do extract these and put them up on my YouTube channel, and the link to that is in my bio, so you can go and watch the replays if you would like to. I just screen record my little face in the middle, so it's just me talking. I'm glad some of you know each other. That's so cool. I like that. So Erin, it's something very different. I hope you enjoy it, especially if you've been trying other things to feel okay. This is it. This is the end of the journey. No, not really. I don't think the journey's ever over, is it? And I'm quite enjoying it, so I don't want it to be. I'm enjoying keeping on revealing more and more of who I really am. So let's start with change as a concept, because there's a lot of fear around it, isn't there? Does anybody else here experience fear around change, or unease around it, or anxiety around it? I think that can be huge, can't it? It can feel like we're not in control, and we feel like we should be, when in actual fact we're not meant to be, I'm afraid. So thank you, Monica and Danielle, saying yes in the comments to that sort of wariness about change. But when are we not changing? I mean, right now, as I'm speaking to you, I'm changing. Right now, as you're listening to me, you're changing. It's imperceivable, but it's happening all the time. And I think we're built for change. Human beings are built for change. We have to be, because the world out there doesn't stay still, does it? It's ever changing. It's ever shifting. Even just if we consider nature, and if I think about my lawn, so my grass is out the back there. Do you call it a lawn in the US? Do you call it a lawn? I think you call it a yard, don't you? A backyard. Well, my backyard is just through the door there. I've got patio doors. And it was covered in dandelions, then it had buttercups and daisies, and now it's got clover. And all the time I won't let my fiancé cut the grass because the bees, if the bees are on there, if I look at the grass and the bees are hovering over, then he's not allowed to cut the grass. Anyway, so all of that is just happening all the time. Like the dandelions don't make a fuss about it not being their turn anymore. The lawn is the grass and the yard is the space in general. Aha. Okay, right. Because we call it a garden. Our yard is a garden, but we're both talking about the lawn. Marvellous. Good. The grass bit is the lawn. Yeah. So that's good to know. I like this. I like we've got interpreters for the Anglo-American translation that's required sometimes. Yeah, the clover's beautiful at the moment. It's my grass is absolutely covered in it, and the bees do love it. So all of that change is just happening, isn't it? And human beings, this is the thing I think that's really important to see. I hope if you can't hear the helicopter that's just going over my house. The thing that's really important to see, I think, is that we, as human beings, are really part of that out there, of nature. And nature is always changing. We're always changing. There's not a moment in life when you're not changing. You know, the cells in your body are changing. I taught my children this when they were little, but their taste buds in your mouth, especially when you're younger, they completely regenerate every 3 months. And it was the way I got my kids to try new food, or repeatedly try food they said they didn't like. And as a result, they've got quite a good palate. They do like most things, my kids. Because I just said, so well, you haven't got the same taste buds now. Try it again. Because every part of you is changing all the time. Even, microscopically, although slower than it used to, my hair is growing and more rapidly than I'd like. It's going white under there. So it's you can't not be changing. You can't not be changing. Oh, I like that, Monica. You call it a garden because you like how it sounds. I like that. So we're built for change. And when we think about our ancestors, the ones that lived in nature, not like us, we live in a brick box, we go to work in a metal box, we drive in a metal box to work, and then we spend our day in a concrete box at work, don't we? Not many of us spend our days out there in nature. But we are really part of that. So we're built for change. We're meant to be in change all the time, really. It's natural. You know, everything about us is changing right now. Just sat here, I'm changing. Just listening to me, you're changing. You can't not be. And as well as being built for this change within ourselves, within nature and all of that, we are actually built to manage or live with the changes out there. We just don't think we are. And I would say one of the key things that is relevant in this conversation about change is resilience. Now, resilience has got a really, I think it's got a bad rap, actually. It needs some PR. I shall do it. Resilience has got a bad rap. It's been made to look like hard work. Has anybody been on a resilience course ever? Yeah, I love that too, Monica. I love what you've said there, Marita. I've started to do that a bit, like just say, I'm kind of reminding my body it knows how to work properly, because I've been stuck at the same weight for quite a while despite appearing to try everything. Well, not appearing to try everything, but appearing to just eat very healthily and do a little bit of exercise, and I feel like my body's ground to a halt. I shouldn't be saying that aloud, should I? But anyway, I am trying now to remind my body that it knows, and noticing the thoughts that are against that, really, and letting them go as much as I can. So resilience. So who's been on resilience training? That's a thing that businesses do now, don't they? They send you on resilience training. They teach you how to be resilient. And if you search on the internet how to be more resilient, how to build my resilience, how to grow my resilience, whatever, you'll find there's probably, I think there's at least 500 million hits, something like that. Hundreds of millions anyway. Hundreds of millions of hits. So who would like to plough through 100 million ways to build your resilience? Anybody up for that game? I'm not. I'm not doing it. But that seems to be the thing to do, doesn't it? Yeah, well, no, Monica's not up for it. And Danielle, that's kind of going to be, you'll see in a minute, that the sort of flip side, really, of what I'm about, the opposite of what I'm about to say. Just bear with me. So, resilience is an innate quality. And it really does link to change when we think about little children. The little children are changing probably a little bit faster than us, aren't they? Like, their world is just getting different all the time. So, just even the view of the world they had from, if you think about a baby spends most of its time on its back, like looking at what's above it, and then sitting up, and suddenly the world looks very different, and then standing and moving about, and then you're at a different level, and you kind of get to be at, can you imagine, being a child amongst like adults, even just walking in the street with all those legs, changing all the time. What you're seeing is changing all the time. Baby's vision changes, from only being able to see very close, and then seeing lights off in the distance, and then seeing things further away. That happens over a period. Like, babies are just growing and changing so rapidly. And if anybody can find me a non-resilient baby or toddler, I'll give you a prize. Luckily, I don't have to give out a prize because there is no such thing. babies and toddlers have innate well-being, they have innate resilience, they have innate confidence. We're born like that. We're born with resilience. This is why a baby can fall down and get up multiple times. They might cry for a minute because they bump themselves, but then seconds later they're up again. They might still have tears and snot dribbling down the face, and they're still getting up again because they want to walk. They're being like almost pulled forward through life by some invisible, magical rope round their middle. Now, that ability to cope with things not being how we want them to be, and that ability to cope with change, that resilience is innate. It's always there. It doesn't get taken away or damaged, or it doesn't need to grow. It's perfectly formed. Why would we be born without it? Doesn't make sense, does it? Why would the universe that makes everything work together in harmony make us badly make us? Doesn't make any sense, really, does it? Do we think the dandelions are imperfect, or the daffodils, or the clover we've all been talking about? Every single one of them is perfect. Every single one of you is perfect. You've been made perfect. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't feel like it. I don't feel resilient. I can't handle change. It's really difficult. I don't like it. Blah, blah. You might be thinking that. But here's the thing. It hasn't gone away. It's just got covered up by our psychology. Now, what's our psychology? Our psychology is created, our personal individual psychology. All our psychologies are created in the same way, in that we experience life through the eyes of a small person, mostly. We are told things about ourselves by other people. We experience things, we misunderstand things. Horrible things happen to us, nice things happen to us, and all of that comes together to create a psychology. Your psychology is different to mine. My psychology is different to everybody else. We're all completely unique. So when you think about that, you can realise that there is, 7.8 billion, 8 billion, I don't know. There's a fair few people on the planet now. There are all those different psychological experiences. There are all those different psychologies. Everybody's is different. However, there are some fundamental truths about how that creates our experience. So for most of us, we mostly spend most of our time, overuse of the word most there, but never mind. I'm going to say again now, I don't care. We mostly spend our time living in our psychology. Have you noticed? There is a statistic, isn't there, about how many thoughts are the same thoughts that you thought yesterday? Is it like 85% or something? So we're in our psychology, regurgitating the stuff that we said yesterday and thought yesterday, having the same kinds of feelings, reacting to the same kinds of things, disliking the same things, liking the same things, thinking our well-being depends upon the same things that we did yesterday, and we're living our life in that space most of the time. And then somebody comes along and slaps us around the face with a wet kipper. That's what it felt like happened to me when I came across this understanding. I was like, oh my God, I've got a psychology. I thought that was just the rules. I thought I was supposed to just do what that told me to do, this continual stream of nonsense in my head. And I just saw that I didn't. The thing about the psychology is, though, that it covers over your spiritual nature. It covers over the essence of who you really are. It covers over that resilience that is innate, that is there, that has never been taken away. It covers over your confidence. The quote that I've been talking a lot about this month is, all we are is peace, love and wisdom. And the capacity to create the illusion that we are not, which was said by Jack Pransky. I don't know when he said it. He's still alive, actually, but he said it a long time ago. That's so amazing to see. To see that piece of the jigsaw, to see that the psychology really is just temporarily covering over your innate qualities. So this idea that you are built for change is your nature, that's your true nature. But if you're living in your psychology, which most of us are most of the time, even me a lot of the time, I'm living in my psychology. You can't not really. That's just part of the joy of the human experience, really, is to live life in your in a psychological experience, not a spiritual one. We get glimpses all the time of the spiritual. We all do, and I love what Marita was saying earlier about those moments of gratitude, those opportunities to sit with ourselves in meditation or whatever it is. Those are those moments when we get to see who we really are, I think, and that's why they're cool things to do. Now, the Three Principles understanding doesn't guide us to do anything, but it is fun to play with things if you like to play with them. This is a description of how life works. It's about the three pieces of the puzzle that come together to create our human experience. It's not a thing to do, but you can do things if you like to. That's it, really. So what we have as a model from the Three Principles really is you are innately perfect. You are innately the potential of the universe. You are innately resilient. You are innately made for change. But because you're in your psychology and not floating around in your spiritual, you don't think you are. It's also another way to say this is because you're not living in your true nature, you're not living in your potential, you're living in your psychology. This is how your experience of life is being created. So really, we're built for change. Our psychology is getting in the way. So what kind of thoughts get in the way of our ability to navigate change with ease? Perhaps you've got some ideas about that. I'd love to hear those in the comments. So what kind of thinking gets in the way? Why does change look so hard? Why does it look like we can't cope with it? Why does it look like we're not built for change? What's making it look like that? Let me know if you've got any thoughts on that, while I just welcome in the lots of people that have come in since I started. So if you've only just recently arrived here, please do say hi in the comments. Let me know what you think gets in the way of navigating change with ease. The unknown. Oh, I love that topic, Mary. Thank you so much. I will be on that one in a moment. My name's Clare, the Queen of Calm, and I'm a teacher here on Insight Timer. Well, obviously I am, because I'm here teaching on Insight Timer, and I teach an absolutely beautiful understanding of how our human experience is created, known as the Three Principles, which I highly recommend you looking at in any way, shape or form. If you like being here with me, with my Yorkshire accent, my dodgy humour, and the dog barking in the background, and the occasional crying, me pulling a face about the dog, and the occasional crying, which is often what happens on here, not today maybe, but sometimes, then please keep following me, and please do follow me. But if you just think, oh, she is talking about something, but I find her a bit annoying, that's okay too. But please make sure you learn about the Three Principles. Even if you don't learn it from me, learn about the Three Principles. I'd encourage you to learn about it from me, because I want you to know about it, and you're here, so why not? But if not, then find another teacher and learn about the Three Principles, because it's life-changing. So let me have a look at what we think gets in the way. What kind of psychological nonsense gets in the way of change? The unknown. Oh, Mary. It's simple as the unknown. Let me give you a perspective on the unknown. There is no such thing. It creates so much fear. We talk about fear of the unknown, but we're not afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of the things we make up, in our future, anxious, worrying thinking, and we call that the unknown. There's no unknown, it's just what we've made up. And then we feel that, feels awful, feels anxious, feels worrisome, feels tricky, doesn't it? And really realising that that's just a story that we've made up, and then we're scaring ourselves with it, is really helpful, I think. The ongoing, I like that moniker, the ongoing stuff that we must do. Really, what's interesting about that is I've noticed over the last few years, while I've been in this understanding, my relationship with all those things has changed, because those things are not making us feel anything. They're not really an issue. It's our thinking about them that's the problem. And I had a really fun experience, because I have a thing about grating cheese. Anybody else find grating cheese the most ridiculous, boring job in the world? I have a thing about grating cheese. This is a safe space. It's safe for me to admit my cheese grating problem. Anyway, I remember being on a three principles thing, and the guy said, look, I want you to have a 10-minute break now. You can go and do a thing that you normally don't like doing, and I want you to do it as if you really like it. So I went into the kitchen, I put Wham on. Anybody else a Wham fan from the 80s? Love a bit of Wham. And I danced whilst grating cheese and had an absolute brilliant time. And it just was so interesting. Like, that wasn't like, I'm not saying if there's a job you need to do, go put Wham on and dance around the kitchen while you're doing it. What I'm saying is, it's fun to see that just with a bit of tweak of perspective, we kind of go, grating cheese isn't that bad. I still would rather give somebody else the cheese grating to do, if I'm honest. If we're making a meal and I say to Bruce is my fiance, by the way, I really think I should bring him on someday. Somebody once said, yeah, bring Bruce on. Anyway, he's a chef, he's an ex-chef. So we go to cook a meal, and he's generally in charge. And I say to him, what job would you like me to do to help? And if he says grate the cheese, I'm like, give me anything else to do. You grate the flipping cheese. Anyway, I don't like grating cheese. So there we know. Ricky, right, a limited perspective. Brilliant. Absolutely. That's one of the things that makes change look hard, particularly, I think, Ricky, a limited perspective of ourselves. We can't cope with that. We're not going to manage it. We don't know what to do. It's not for us. We reduce ourselves down to our psychology. We don't see that we've actually got this limitless potential, and that we can actually do anything, and we can cope with anything. We generally think we can't cope. So yeah, that kind of boxed in sense, Ricky, I love that. Why it feels so hard? Yeah, of course, if we think it's hard, it's going to be hard. Ripon, that's the thing. If we keep saying, why is this so hard, we're going to experience hard. I don't know what I was saying when you said love all of it, Danielle. I'd love to know. Fear, doubt and inability to let go. Thank you, Zoe. Brilliant. Fear, definitely. I think at any point when there's some change coming up, we will make up some super scary stories about what might be to come. That does bring about doubt, self-doubt especially. Can we cope? I often say we make up a scary future, and then we make up a slightly inept version of ourselves in that future, and we kind of go, oh no, we're never going to be able to cope with that. It's going to be absolutely impossible. And yeah, not wanting to let go of what already is. Change looks like it's going to make our life different, perhaps not in the way we want it to be. I think preference looking like our well-being depends on it. Everybody's got a preference. Everybody wants things to be one way rather than the other. But if we think our well-being depends on those things being a certain way, we are going to feel terrible. So thank you, Zoe. Fear, self-criticism. Yes, Mary, thank you. Fear, we've talked a bit about that. Yeah, self-criticism, the sense that I think, well, you're a bit rubbish and you're not going to cope with this, are you? You haven't coped before, you've not been good enough, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, every day is unknown, Monica, absolutely. Every moment, I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth next. And you don't either. You must be on tenterhooks. You don't know, do you? You just don't know. And maybe that's exciting rather than scary. Maybe that's something to get curious about. Thank you. Hey, I've got another Wham fan. I could just break into Wake Me Up Before You Go any minute now. Watch out. Oh, thank you, Danielle. Yeah, my humour, the accent, and the dog barking in the background. It doesn't always bark, but it does sometimes bark when I'm on here. Comedy of comedies. It's my ex-husband's dog because he lives next door. But that's a whole other story. We won't do that story today. So I love all of those things you've shared in the chat. Absolutely, all of those things are things that I would help somebody with. If, fear, self-criticism, fear of the unknown, all the things you've just raised there, absolutely. Just our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with the outside world, our relationship with change, because really that's what we're looking at here. Change isn't going to go away. Sorry if that wasn't what you wanted to hear today, but change is part of life. It's as I've already said, it is ever changing. It never stops changing. It is just as it is, and we can be empowered in that change when we start to see that it's not the change, it's our relationship with the change. It isn't coming from the outside. Our feelings don't come from the outside. The change cannot fundamentally damage us or hurt us. That's not possible. It's how we see it. It's not the change itself. It's how we relate to it. As it is with everything. With absolutely everything. It's never the thing. It's always our relationship with the thing. Yeah, Mary. Me too, not trying to, but looking towards doing that more and more. I think that's worth... I know our psychology is part of nature because it's in a human being. We're part of nature. But it also seems to me like it's something that separates us from that nature, if that makes sense. It creates an illusion of separation, really. And that's it. That's what thought does. That's what our psychology does. We're not separate from nature. Like I was saying before, the changing nature of my lawn has been, so many things just over the last few months. In fact, we've now got wheat growing on our lawn because my filter's been feeds the birds seed, and they reject the wheat. They don't like it. They literally pick around everything. I mean, nature knows what it needs, doesn't it? I just think, yeah, birds are gluten intolerant. Not really, but the birds know they don't need wheat. That's not what they nutritionally need. Maybe at another time of year they eat wheat because we've only just noticed in the spring and the summer that the wheat isn't being eaten. It was being eaten in the winter. So how cool is that to see that, that as the seasons change, the birds know what they need to eat. Anyway, they've not been eating the wheat. They've been picking it all out and dropping it on the ground. And now we've got wheat growing on the edge of the lawn near the bird feeders. So that's really cool to see. It'll be really interesting to see whether in the winter the birds do eat the wheat because they need that nutrition, different nutrition in the winter. Excuse me. That's lovely, Monica. Do you know what I should do, really? I should do my yoga outside on a morning. That would be lovely. I should do that. I'd take my yoga mat and do it outside with the lovely... I'd hopefully take the lovely Adrienne on my phone. I'll put my headphones in so I don't disturb the neighbours doing yoga at 5 o'clock in the morning. I used to do it when we were camping, actually. I used to take my yoga mat camping and go out on the grass and do some yoga in the morning. I will do that, Monica. I think that would be lovely. I don't want to squash the bees on the clover, though. I'll have to be careful. So, what have we said so far? Let's have a little recap. Before we have a little recap, we'll say hello to the other kind of 10 people or so that have just come in the last little while. welcome. If you're new here, let me know. If you are a repeat offender, that's what you're called now. If you keep coming back, you're called a repeat offender. Dodgy sense of humour, but never mind. But I'm glad you like it, Monica. Thank you. So if you've been here before, you're a repeat offender. If you know about the 3 principles, let me know. If you don't know about 3 principles, let me know. If you are new to the 3 principles, I have a track which is called What Are the 3 Principles and Why Do They Bring More Ease to Life? I only just squeezed that title in on the Insight Timer thing. It's kind of the longest you can go. And that has now been released after a little bit of chasing up by me, because Insight Time has been moving their tracks and doing some other shenanigans and had the premium release at the same time, and then it all got a bit of a backlog. So it's all like up to date now. So that track has now been released. So it would be great if you went and listened to that. Dip into that before you come to any more of my sessions, I would say, and also listen to some of my other tracks. If you are new here, please go ahead and follow me on my profile. I've now got, I can't remember how many followers I've got now. I think it's about 1,200. It's gone up quite a lot in the last few weeks, which is really nice. Thank you so much if you've already followed me. There's a link in my bio there if you want to find out a little bit more. Please do go click on that. So what I'm hoping for now, as you are such a beautifully interactive audience today, which I absolutely love, is if you've got any questions about change. I'll just recap what we've shared so far. Last but not least, if you are enjoying this and you think the 3 principles sound like something that people could do with hearing about, and you're already starting to experience some kind of insights maybe, or thinking, oh, I'm seeing that differently now, then please do, if you are able to, if you can make a donation, that'd be absolutely wonderful, because that helps me to keep coming here, supports my work on Insight Timer, supports the spreading of the 3 principles, which I think is just so vital. I really am on a mission now to have everybody at least know that it exists, but eventually to have the paradigm shift be that that's how we talk about people. We talk about innate well-being, we talk about psychology is something that passes through us, it isn't who we are, and we stop pointing people towards mental illness, which I feel is hugely happening at the moment, really, rather than pointing people towards mental health. So if you are able to make a donation, I'm utterly grateful for that. Thank you so much. So quick recap. We are born capable of change. We are born changing. We've been changing ever since the moment the sperm and the egg got together and did a little dance, haven't we? We've been changing all the time. We're never not changing. We're built to change. Change is natural for us. It's part of it's one of our innate qualities. And the only thing that gets in the way of that is our psychology, our thinking, how we view the world, how we view ourselves, what we think might be wrong with change. There's been some fantastic things raised in the comments in terms of that. Seeing ourselves as not able to cope, thinking that it's not going to be all right. A lot of future thinking, I would say, comes in when we consider change. But I tell you what would be lovely to hear from. Has anybody ever experienced a change that you'd think would be, and actually it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened? Like, the biggest one for me was that I burnt out in 2015. I had, thank you. Enjoy some lovely yoga. And thank you, Monica. And thank you so much, Danielle, for the donation. Thank you so much. And thank you, Mary, as well. Lovely. Thank you so much. You're so generous. So, I've forgotten what I was saying now. We're built for change. I was going to ask people if you've been through a change that you could have thought, oh my goodness, this is horrendous. I can't know how I'm gonna manage this. And actually, in the moment when it was really happening, you were fine. I mean, that's a big part of it, isn't it? That really, when we think about change, we're thinking ahead, and we're going off into the future, and we're making it scary. But actually, when it's really happening, real time, our ability to handle change is innate. We just do it. We just get on with it. For me, it was burnout. I walked out of work on the 31st of March 2015, and I never went back. I ended up resigning. and I ended up starting a business. There was a lot of change. And I really do see, like at the time, it wasn't nice burning out, but I really do see that there was a path that was being laid out for me. And that change from working in a career that I'd done for 20 years to not doing that career anymore and to letting go of it and to moving into self-employment was just meant to be. Now, I'm not saying it was easy, but I think hopefully most of us can look back on a change we've experienced and realise that it was for the best and that it turned out all right, and that when it was really happening, when we were really in the thick of it, it was okay. A lot less upsetting, stressful, whatever, than we thought it was going to be before. So has anybody, hopefully some of you've got a story like that, something that changed for you. Or even just put a yes in the comments if you've been through a change and looked back and gone, oh, do you know what, I made a right old fuss about that, and it wasn't that bad. It was really not as bad as I made it out to be, and I was much better in it than I thought it was going to be. And one of the things that I think is really cool to see around that is that we have real-time responsive intelligence. Not my phrase, Michael Neal's phrase, can't think of one better myself. But in the moment, when something's really happening, in the present moment, we have access to the complete power of the universe, to infinite intelligence. We can handle anything in the moment when it's actually happening, but we can't handle it if we are ahead of ourselves, making up what's going to happen. When something's really happening, no matter how hard it is, we just keep moving forward. That innate resilience comes into play, and we just keep moving forward. That's it. We can't do anything else, really, because that's how we're made. We're made for change. It's our natural, part of our natural way of being in the world. So, thank you, Deborah. I'm not sure why in hibernation now. That's probably because I've forgotten what I said a little while ago. It won't be your fault, Deborah. We are... please do recap for me, Deborah, what that comment means so that I can speak to it if I need to. So, that's it, really. I haven't got anything else unless you've got questions. It's always good to hear questions. I think I've covered everything off that was in the comments. It's been an absolutely fab session. Thank you so much for your participation. That's been really good, because it really does make a difference, these sessions, when there's some participation in the comments. So thank you so much. If there are not any more questions, I hope you found that helpful. I think always, especially this month, when we're looking at our innate well-being, when we're looking at our potential, when we're looking to see what's true for all of us as human beings, what's universal, what's the truth of who we are, what's the oneness, what's there when we're not in separation. It's so cool to see how many things that we think are problems are really part of our innate state, our innate qualities. It's back to that quote from the beginning again. All we are is peace, love and wisdom, and the capacity to create the illusion that we are not, by Jack Pansky. And we're in our psychology so much that we don't think we're coping. We don't think we can cope. We don't think we can manage the change. And really, for me, thinking about what happened to me in the run-up to burnout wasn't, there were a lot of changes, But it wasn't the changes, it was definitely how I related to them. It's what I did around them and what I had, what my behaviour became like. Very controlling, very much like I need to make all these people and the situations behave a certain way and then I can feel okay. That was pretty much my way of being, really. And it tired me out. So bless you, Deborah. I know how that feels. I really do. To be in, the place of the sound. My sound is low. Does everybody else think my sound is low? I might have just gone quite quiet then because I was, in a moment. But hopefully my sound is okay. Let me know if it is or isn't. Thank you, Violet. Oh, hello, Violet. Lovely Violet's here. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Ripon. We're built to change. That's it, really. And whenever we think we're not, it's because we're thinking we're not. It's not because we're not. If you see what I mean. That was a rather contrived sentence, but I feel like it had a bit of something in it, actually. So thank you so much for being here. There will be some lives next week. I've not booked them in yet, so bear with me on that. I need to look at my diary and try and jiggle it about and see what's happening and what else I need to do next week. It will be our last week on this topic of revealing our potential. So please let me know if there's anything in particular you want me to talk about. You can you can obviously message me on Insight Timer. There's also a place to catch me on Telegram on my link in my bio, so you can tell me there if there's something that you think would be useful to talk about. Last run of it, really, before next month when we're going to talk about productivity. So all things motivation, procrastination, getting stuff done, getting out of our own way, following the flow, feeling, our creativity, driving things, inspiration rather than motivation, all that kind of good, juicy stuff, but without any tools, techniques or trawling the past. How about that for product? And no guidance to use Asana or Trello or anything else to organise yourself. Google Tasks. Many other apps are available. None of that. Just purely, how is your psychology getting in the way of you being productive? That's what we're going to explore. So, that's it for today. It's the weekend, folks. 2:15 already on Friday. So please do have an absolutely beautiful weekend. I hope you see some sunshine. Yes, there are too many productivity apps, Daniel. If you search for task management tool or something on the app stores, too many. I hope to see some of you next week on some of my lives. The best thing to do, if you're not already doing so, is to please follow me. If you follow me, then you'll get an update when I share anything new, a live, a course, a premium track, a free track. And then you get all the content firsthand, and that's particularly cool when we're in a theme, because my tracks tend to support the theme as well. So it's all kind of pointing in the same direction. So you could really have quite a big transformation in just a month from listening to all that content. So there we go. So, thank you so much for being here. Have a fabulous weekend. Please do follow me if you're not already. And thank you to those people who've made lovely donations. If you're able to make a donation, that does support me in sharing the 3 principles and getting it out there so that more and more people get to experience the fantastic transformation that you're all heading towards now. So lots of love. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care and have a lovely week.